Hi everyone, Suey here. It's been a while. The little funk continues. The little funk that I was talking about, another video I think I was. Yeah, it continues. Here's hoping. I'm just gonna kind of limp along until I can get that back, but I don't know. I don't know what else to say about that. I'm coming to you today to talk about the books that we have chosen to read for our book club this coming year. Our book club year, I think I've told you before, goes from June to May. So we are almost to the end of our book club year, and we'll start a new one in June. And so in March, April-ish is when we figure out our schedule for the upcoming year through this voting process. And a few videos ago, I told you what the books were that were on our voting list. And now I would like to tell you what the winners are, just in case you are curious about that. Some of you gave me some feedback onto which books you were hoping would win. I think some of them didn't win though. So, but we always remind ourselves that even if some don't win, it doesn't mean we can't read them. We just won't be reading them together with book club for right now. We have often found that some books that get repeat nominations after a couple of times will end up finally getting voted in. And I think that there's a couple of them like that on this list this time. I think you might be interested in maybe the numbers. I don't know. There was like 14 people that voted. So of those 14 people, 8 of them voted for My Friends by Fredrick Backman. This book is coming out next month, and we are choosing to read it maybe in August or so. Always, well, not always. I guess often, a Fredrick Backman will end up on our list, as does a Liane Moriarty book. We will be reading Here One Moment, which was her latest book that came out last year. And I've had it ever since I went to her signing and haven't read it yet. So I was kind of campaigning for this one myself. 8 people also voted for that. See, now everybody could choose 12 books out of the list. So those 15 people could vote for 12 books. So 8 chose My Friends and 8 chose Here One Moment. And also 8 chose Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. This was also a book that I suggested kind of at the last minute because one of my challenges this year is to read a Jane Austen book or a book about Jane Austen because it's her 250th birthday this year. So I threw in a Jane Austen at the last minute. We've read several together with book club, but this is one we haven't read. So Northanger Abbey it is. And they wanted to, so I was kind of surprised at that. I threw it in there thinking that wouldn't happen, but so we'll be reading Northanger Abbey. I think we've chosen October to read that one because it kind of has that gothic-y, mysterious feel about it. Then 7 people voted for Project Hail Mary. Very excited to that one. That's the first one we're going to be reading in June. I read that one last year and I kind of raved about it. I don't know if I raved a whole lot about it at book club, but I did bring it for my year-end favorite book to do at the book exchange. And I think a lot of people were like, yeah, I kind of want to read that. So yeah, we'll be reading that in June. I don't know if I will reread it. I don't think I have time to reread it. But I will hopefully find a way to remember everything that happened in it. I'm excited to talk about it, though. And is the movie coming soon? Not quite yet. I think the movie's a ways away still, but soon there'll be a movie. And then 6 people voted for The God of the Woods. I didn't write the author down again. Liv Moore, is that it? I think it's Liv Moore. God of the Woods. Liz Moore, which is a book I've never heard of. So I am excited to try something completely unexpected. And it sounds like it could be a little bit intense from the description of that one. Teenagers go missing or something. There's some sort of crazy thing that happens with a bunch of teenagers. How's that for a little teaser? I'm really bad at the teasers, guys. Sorry. I don't even know. Like My Friends, I think that one's about a group of friends over the years. I'm sorry. Okay. Also 6 people voted for The Sirens of Titan by Vonnegut. So we have these 2 classics on our list. Northanger Abbey and The Sirens of Titan, I would consider a classic also. I don't know much about this one. I've heard of some other Kurt Vonnegut books, but not this one. But it sounds pretty sci-fi-ish, and I'm going to be excited to see what that one's about. And then we had 4 books that 5 people voted for. The Housemaid by Frieda McFadden, is that her name? And the reaction of one of our book club members, she watches all the time, hi Jenny, her reaction to this one winning, what made me real curious. She's like, oh man, this is going to be a really interesting discussion, and she's excited and curious to see what we think about what happens. I'm thinking it might be something that's disturbing for a particular group. So I don't know. We'll see, I guess. And then we have the Thursday Murder Club, which is a group of old people solving mysteries, I think. And then Service Model, which is the robot one. And then Jurassic Park. I guess you could almost consider this one a classic too. When was it published? I don't even know. Maybe not quite yet. This is one that people have been campaigning for a while. It's interesting that it finally made the cut, and we had a great time thinking about what treats we would bring for Jurassic Park, and we decided it's going to be a free-for-all, and everyone is going to just bring whatever dinosaur-themed treat they can find. We're going to do that in January after Christmas. And then that's all the 5s. And so that's 10 books, right? Did I get them all? 10 books. And then we will do Memoir Month in July, like we usually do. So if you guys have any memoir suggestions for me, things that I should be reading, let me know. And that left one more book we needed to add to the list to round out our year. So there were 7. I think there were 7. There were 7 books that had the same amount of votes that were next in line. So we had to do a tiebreaker vote. And the one that won the tiebreaker vote is called The Spectacular by Fiona Davis, I think is the author, which is a historical novel about Rockettes in New York City. So those are the books that ended up on our list. I'm really excited. I feel like it's very, very different from what we usually do, except for the Liane Moriarty and the Fredrick Backman. They are right down the line of normal. But the rest of them are quite a bit different, I think. So I'm excited to see what everybody thinks and how this goes down. Let me know if you have any thoughts about what we'll be reading for book club. And I just wanted to say, I talk about book club a lot on here because it's a big, huge part of my bookish life. You can always read with us. And I will let you know when it's happening almost all the time because they're always up on my TBRs and stuff. You can always read it with us and we can have a little discussion right here online too. Until next time, happy reading. Bye.